Hi there, and welcome. Today, I want to share with you a deeply personal story. A story about fear and courage. About trembling hands and standing ovations. This is more than just a speech. It's a journey through anxiety, loss, and ultimately transformation. The title of today's story is From Shaking Voice to Standing Ovation, My Anxiety Journey. So take a deep breath and come with me into a story that might just remind you how powerful your voice truly is, even when it shakes. The fluorescent lights of the auditorium hummed, a monotonous drone that amplified the tremor in my hands. My name was Elara, and for the past 23 years, my life had been a carefully constructed fortress of avoidance, built brick by brick with mortar made of anxiety. My particular brand of anxiety manifested most acutely in public speaking. The mere thought of addressing a crowd, even a small one, would send my heart into a frantic drum solo, my palms slick with sweat, and my mind a whirlwind of catastrophic scenarios. Today, however, was different. Today, I was determined to tear down the walls, brick by agonizing brick. Today was the day I spoke up, even though my voice shook. It wasn't as if I hadn't tried to overcome this fear before. Countless therapy sessions, breathing exercises, and even a short life stint in a public speaking workshop had yielded minimal results. Each attempt felt like scaling a sheer cliff face, only to slide back down, bruised and defeated. The problem wasn't a lack of knowledge. I knew all the techniques. The problem was the visceral, overwhelming panic that seized me the moment I stood before an audience. My journey to this auditorium, to this moment, was a long and winding one, paved with small victories and crushing setbacks. It started, as many journeys do, with a crisis. My grandmother, Nana Iris, the woman who had raised me, the steadfast anchor in my turbulent sea of anxiety, had been diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Nana Iris was a force of nature, a vibrant, independent woman who had always championed my dreams, even when I doubted them myself. Her illness was a brutal, unfair blow. During Nana Iris's treatment, I became her primary caregiver. It was a challenging role, demanding both physically and emotionally. But amidst the exhaustion and the fear, I discovered a strength I never knew I possessed. I learned to navigate the complex world of hospitals and medications, to advocate for her needs, and to provide comfort in the face of unimaginable pain. I realized that my voice, even when trembling, could be a powerful tool. One evening, as I sat by Nana Iris's bedside, reading aloud from her favorite book, a collection of poetry by Mary Oliver, she turned to me, her eyes bright with a familiar spark. "Elara," she said, her voice raspy but firm, "you have a gift. You have a way with words, a sensitivity that touches people's hearts. Don't let your fears silence you." Her words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. Nana Iris knew about my struggles with public speaking. She had witnessed my anxiety attacks firsthand, had held my hand through countless panic-stricken moments. She also knew about my passion for health and wellness, my deep-seated desire to help others lead healthier, happier lives. I had always dreamed of becoming a health educator, but the thought of presenting information to large groups had always held me back. It was a cruel irony. I wanted to share my knowledge and inspire others, but my fear of public speaking was a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. After Nana Iris passed away, her words echoed in my mind. "Don't let your fears silence you." I knew I couldn't ignore her advice any longer. I had to find a way to overcome my anxiety, not just for myself, but for her. I owed it to her memory to pursue my dreams, to use my voice to make a difference in the world. That's how I found myself applying to speak at the annual Health and Wellness Symposium. It was a daunting prospect, but I felt a strange sense of purpose, a burning desire to honor Nana Iris's legacy. I poured my heart and soul into preparing my presentation. I researched the topic thoroughly, crafting a compelling narrative about the importance of mindfulness in managing stress. I rehearsed my speech countless times, practicing in front of the mirror, in front of my cat, even in front of my reflection in the window of a passing bus. Each rehearsal was an exercise in courage, a small step towards reclaiming my voice. But as the day of the symposium approached, my anxiety intensified. The familiar symptoms returned with a vengeance. Sleepless nights, racing thoughts, and a persistent knot in my stomach. I considered backing out, convincing myself that I wasn't ready, that I was setting myself up for failure. But then I would remember Nana Iris's words, her unwavering belief in me, and I would find the strength to keep going. Now, standing backstage, waiting for my turn to speak, I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. My heart pounded in my chest, and my hands trembled uncontrollably. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and tried to focus on the present moment. I reminded myself that I wasn't doing this for myself. I was doing it for Nana Iris, for all the people who needed to hear my message. The moderator announced my name, and I walked onto the stage, my legs feeling like jelly. The bright lights blinded me for a moment, and I could feel the eyes of the audience upon me. I gripped the microphone stand tightly, trying to steady myself. My voice caught in my throat, and I struggled to speak. "Good morning," I managed to say, my voice barely a whisper. I cleared my throat and tried again. "Good morning, everyone. My name is Elara, and I'm honored to be here today." My voice was still shaky, but it was a start. I began my presentation, focusing on the words in front of me, trying to ignore the sea of faces in the audience. I spoke about the science of stress, the impact of chronic stress on physical and mental health, and the power of mindfulness practices to mitigate its effects. I shared personal anecdotes, drawing from my own experiences as a caregiver, and I offered practical tips and techniques that the audience could incorporate into their daily lives. As I spoke, I noticed that the audience was engaged, listening attentively to my words. Some people nodded in agreement, others took notes, and a few even smiled encouragingly. Their positive response gave me a boost of confidence, and my voice began to steady. I found myself connecting with the audience, sharing my passion for health and wellness, and inspiring them to take charge of their own well-being. I even managed to inject a bit of humor into my presentation, sharing a funny anecdote about my cat's failed attempts at meditation. The audience laughed, and I felt a surge of relief and gratitude. I was actually doing it. I was overcoming my fear and sharing my message with the world. Of course, there were moments when my anxiety threatened to overwhelm me. There were times when my voice trembled, when I stumbled over my words, and when I felt my face flush with embarrassment. But each time, I took a deep breath, reminded myself of my purpose, and kept going. By the end of my presentation, I was exhausted but exhilarated. I had spoken up, even though my voice shook. And in doing so, I had discovered a strength and resilience I never knew I possessed. The applause was deafening. People were rising to their feet. It was a moment I would never forget. After the presentation, several people approached me, thanking me for sharing my story and offering words of encouragement. One woman who had been struggling with anxiety for years told me that my presentation had given her hope that she could overcome her own fears. Her words touched me deeply, reminding me that my voice, even when trembling, could make a difference in the world. The journey wasn't over. I knew that I would continue to face challenges, that my anxiety would likely resurface at times. But I also knew that I had the tools and the resilience to overcome those challenges. I had learned that speaking up, even when my voice shook, was not only possible but also empowering. I started small, volunteering to lead a mindfulness workshop at a local community center. The group was small, only about a dozen people, but the intimacy of the setting helped me feel more comfortable. I shared my personal journey with anxiety, and I taught them simple mindfulness techniques that they could use to manage their stress. As I continued to lead workshops, my confidence grew. I became more comfortable speaking in front of groups, and my anxiety gradually subsided. I even started to enjoy public speaking, finding a sense of fulfillment in sharing my knowledge and inspiring others. One day, I received an email from the organizers of the Health and Wellness Symposium, inviting me to speak at the event again the following year. I was thrilled and honored. This time, I accepted the invitation without hesitation. The following year, I returned to the auditorium, no longer filled with fear, but with a sense of excitement and purpose. I spoke with confidence and passion, sharing my story and inspiring others to take charge of their health and well-being. Nana Iris would have been proud. My journey to overcome my anxiety wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I learned that true strength lies not in the absence of fear, but in the courage to face it head-on. I learned that my voice, even when trembling, could be a powerful force for good. And I learned that by speaking up, even when my voice shook, I could inspire others to find their own voices and make a difference in the world. The experience transformed my understanding of health. It wasn't just about physical well-being. It was about mental and emotional well-being too. It was about facing your fears, embracing your vulnerabilities, and living a life of purpose and meaning. It became my mission to help others on their own health journeys. I started a blog, sharing my insights and experiences, and I created online courses, teaching people how to manage stress, cultivate mindfulness, and live healthier, happier lives. My voice, once silenced by fear, now resonated with thousands of people around the world. Looking back, I realized that Nana Iris's illness, while a devastating experience, had ultimately been a catalyst for growth and transformation. It had forced me to confront my fears, to discover my inner strength, and to find my voice. And it had taught me the true meaning of health, a holistic integration of mind, body, and spirit. One sunny afternoon, while sitting in my garden, a hummingbird buzzed near my head, then hovered in front of me. Hummingbirds, as Nana Iris used to say, were messengers of joy. "Remember to find joy in the small things," she often said. I smiled, remembering her words. I knew she was right. And in that moment, I felt a deep sense of peace and gratitude. I had spoken up, even though my voice shook, and in doing so, I had found my true calling. The garden was Nana Iris's pride and joy, filled with vibrant colors and fragrant blooms. After she passed, I vowed to keep it alive, to nurture the plants she loved so much. Gardening became a form of therapy for me, a way to connect with her memory and to find solace in the beauty of nature. Tending to the garden helped me understand the cycles of life, the importance of nurturing and growth, and the power of resilience. As I continued my work as a health educator, I realized that my own experiences with anxiety and grief made me a more empathetic and compassionate guide. I could relate to the struggles of others, and I could offer them hope and encouragement based on my own journey. I learned that vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength. By sharing my own fears and insecurities, I created a safe space for others to do the same. And in that shared vulnerability, we found connection, healing, and growth. The day I spoke up, even though my voice shook, was a turning point in my life. It was the day I stopped letting fear control me and started living a life of purpose and passion. It was the day I honored Nana Iris's legacy and found my true calling. And so, my journey continues, one step at a time, one shaky voice at a time. I am grateful for the challenges I have faced, for the lessons I have learned, and for the opportunity to make a difference in the world. For I know that even the smallest voice, when filled with passion and purpose, can have a profound impact. Years passed, and the memory of Nana Iris remained a guiding light. I established a foundation in her name, dedicated to providing resources and support for individuals struggling with anxiety and grief. The foundation offers therapy services, mindfulness workshops, and educational programs, all designed to empower people to take charge of their mental and emotional well-being. The foundation grew rapidly, attracting volunteers and donors from all over the world. It became a beacon of hope for those who felt lost and alone in their struggles. I often spoke at fundraising events, sharing my story and inspiring others to support the cause. My voice no longer shook, but the memory of that first trembling speech served as a constant reminder of the power of courage and resilience. One day, a young woman approached me after a speech, her eyes filled with tears. She told me that she had been diagnosed with a rare form of anxiety that made it impossible for her to leave her house. She had been feeling hopeless and isolated, but my story had given her a glimmer of hope. I spent hours talking with her, sharing my own experiences and offering words of encouragement. I connected her with therapists and support groups, and I helped her develop a plan to gradually overcome her fears. Months later, she emailed me, thanking me for helping her reclaim her life. She had started attending community events, volunteering at a local animal shelter, and even taking a college course online. Her story reminded me of the ripple effect of courage. By speaking up, even when my voice shook, I had not only transformed my own life, but had also inspired countless others to do the same. It was a humbling and rewarding experience. The foundation continued to thrive, expanding its programs and reaching more people in need. I traveled the world, speaking at conferences and workshops, advocating for mental health awareness, and sharing my message of hope and resilience. I became a leading voice in the mental health community, and I was honored to receive numerous awards and accolades for my work. But amidst all the success and recognition, I never forgot the lessons I had learned from Nana Iris, the importance of mindfulness, compassion, and living a life of purpose. I continued to practice mindfulness daily, to connect with nature, and to nurture my relationships with loved ones. I knew that true health was not just about physical well-being, but about the holistic integration of mind, body, and spirit. And so, my journey continues, one day at a time, one shaky voice at a time. I am grateful for the challenges I have faced, for the lessons I have learned, and for the opportunity to make a difference in the world. For I know that even the smallest voice, when filled with passion and purpose, can have a profound impact. Elara, the girl who was once afraid to speak, became the woman whose voice resonated across the globe, a testament to the power of courage, resilience, and the unwavering belief in the human spirit. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this story from a voice that once trembled but refused to stay silent. If this story touched something in you, if you've ever felt small, afraid, or unsure of your voice, I hope you remember this. You don't have to be fearless to be powerful. You just have to be willing. And even the softest voice, when spoken with truth and purpose, can echo far beyond what you ever imagined. If Elara's journey inspired you, please consider sharing this story with someone who might need it. Subscribe for more real stories of healing and hope, and always be kind to yourself. Until next time, keep speaking your truth, even if your voice shakes.